Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. So quick one, I have had a lot of people that have asked me about driving in Canada, how it works and what you really need to drive in Canada. It's not so difficult if you know the right things to do. Fortunately, favored, I started driving about 3 months in after I arrived Canada, and I'll tell you the things you really need. So regardless of whether you've been driving in your home country or not, you still need to do some certain tests when you come into Canada. Like I would always say, I don't want to like generalize for everybody or for every province. I stay in Ontario, Canada, and this is what really applies in Ontario, Canada, anywhere in Ontario. When you come into Canada, the first test you need to do is the G1 test, which is the knowledge test. Like you go to the drive test and they test you on like theory, not practical. So you have to read up. There are different apps they can use for this. I mentioned them in my video where I wrote or where I mentioned how I started driving in Canada, but I will leave the link somewhere. If you just go to your app, basically iPhone or like Apple Store, or what's the Android one called now? I'm so sorry. Apple Store, or my goodness, iOS, or what's it called? Or the Play Store, you will find the G1. So they usually label them as G1 and everything. So you normally find that in the any app store you go to. You can download them, start reading up on them, like, and there are two parts you need to like read up and pass. If you don't pass, you won't get the certificate or you won't get the license. So you have to like get at least 16/20 marks in two different like tests. So 16/20 here, at least 16/20 here, at least 16/20 here. So most times you read up, you go to the drive test center and you tell them that okay, you want to like do the knowledge test. You pay about $151 or so, and you get, and you can do it. You don't need to book or anything. Just go to the closest drive test center around you and book for that test. I would advise you to do it once you come into Canada, because you will even need the ID card. You can even start driving with it if you have someone beside you who is a licensed, who has the full license already. So you can really start driving with that once you have somebody beside you. And I will advise you to also get it for the sake of like ID. Most places where you go to, they will start asking you for ID. So that's one way you can easily get an ID when you arrive Canada. Another thing you should know is that there's a road test. So this is where it becomes dicey, and this is what I really want to break down, because it can be very confusing for people. When I was in Nigeria, I didn't even really know what it was, but I just kept on hearing G1 test, G2 test, road extracts and all that. Let me just break it down here. So if you're in Ontario, like I said, I'm using Ontario. If you don't have a driver's extract, I'll come to that later, you'll be required to go through all the steps of the road test. And it's not just going through the steps. You can't go through it immediately. There's an amount of time that must elapse before you are required to go to the step two. So without an extract, you come into Canada, you've done your G1 test, you want to like go ahead and do your road test. Road tests are two in Ontario. There's the G2 and there's the G. G2 is, let me just say, the G is the highest when you want to drive a car. There are other licenses for motorcycles, for trucks and everything, but I believe most people are driving cars. So that is what I'll be talking with, or that's what I'll be using anyway. So you have the G2 and the G. G2 is the first step, G is the last step. That's one that like you can drive anywhere, do anyhow. Well, not technically anyway, but that's the highest. That's like you can drive at any time. You can consume alcohol, not that you should consume alcohol, but like you have the highest license, so to say, and you understand what I mean. So that's the G test. So the G2 is the first one. That one is one that most people normally do. You have to do that one first before you now like get a promotion, a double promotion, or you like pass and you now go to the G. If you have a driver's extract, you will bypass the G2 and you go straight to doing the road test for G. Let me say that again. If you have a driver's extract from your home country, Nigeria, Ghana, wherever, or where UK, If you have that, you won't do the G2 test. So you won't do the first road test. Like I said, there are 2 road tests. You won't do G2, which is the first road test. You will automatically jump and get double promotion and go immediately. You'll be allowed to write or to sit for to drive for the G test, and which is the highest license. You have like lower insurance for that. It has its benefits, definitely. So most people aim for the G, but if you don't have the G, that's not to say that G2 is not beneficial. I will tell you what happened to me very shortly. So that's what happens usually when you come with your extracts. If you don't come with your extract, you just have to go through the steps, and if you don't come with your extract, you might have to wait for some time. After writing G1, you will wait for some time. I hear some people have to wait for like 9 months before they are even allowed to do the G2. Then another 9 months before you're allowed to do like the G test. So you have to wait for some time. Some cases 1 year. On the average, like 9 months to 1 year, you might need to wait. You can't just write it immediately. You can't do it immediately. So what your extract does for you is you bypass all those bottlenecks. That's like time of waiting. You don't have to wait. You can do it immediately. So once you land Canada, you have your extract, you've passed your G1, you're doing your road test immediately. You don't have to wait. So that extract is really very important for those that come from Nigeria, which is my home country. How do you get it? How did I get it? Unfortunately, I try to share people that I can beat my back for, and I will say 100% I recommend so and so. But a driver's extract at this point is really dicey. Even when I got mine, it was very shaky. So I won't recommend at all the person that did it for me. Like, I also got to know about that person from a group, like when they are passing numbers around, and I approach that person works in FRSC. So I'm just giving you this information. I can't give you the person that did it for me. I'm giving you the information that before you leave Nigeria, possibly talk to those in FRSC. Like, I hear it even has to be from the headquarters in Abuja. Of course, if you can't go to Abuja, people can do it for you. Everything is global and online right now. So that's one thing I will tell you. Ask them that you're traveling and you're leaving the country. They already know what it is already. You might need to talk to these people. Like, you need to get a driver's extract, and you need, so the driver's extract basically like just gives like information about the length of your driving experience from your home country. So when I got my extract, in fact I forgot totally. It gave you the dates from when I started driving in Nigeria, like about 11 years ago. Like, it will give you the date of your first driver's license and everything. So that it gives you like the experience of how long you've been driving, the kind of vehicle you were driving and everything. So when you present that in Ontario here, they will not be like, oh, okay, this person is an experienced driver. That person does not need to go through everything. So that is what really gives you. So you bypass the time of waiting and everything. So that is what the extract really does for you. It helps you to bypass all those things, so you don't have to really wait. But unfortunately, if you can't get it, you have to go through that. So the next thing I'll tell you now is, if you have a driver's license, and don't forget your driver's license as well, you need your driver's license from your home country and you need your driver's extract. Those two, very important when you're coming down here and you want to start driving. So the thing I'll tell you now is, this is what happened to me, and it has happened to a lot of people. So like I said, you do your G1, you've passed. It's now time for you to like do your road test. You either do the G2 or the G. G2 if you don't have an extract, G if you have an extract. So I bypassed everything and I went to G. Unfortunately, I shared it here that I didn't pass my drive test immediately. I didn't pass it at the first attempt. If you don't pass at the first attempt, unfortunately you'll be taken back. So they won't allow you write G again. You will now go back to G2. You now have to write the G2 all over again. And fortunately, I did the G2, I passed immediately, so I could drive almost immediately. So that was what happened. When I came, I did the G1, time went and everything. I was able to do the G2, sorry, I was able to do my G. Unfortunately, I did not pass, so they have to take me back to do the G2. I passed that one and I was able to drive. After I drove for like some weeks, I went back to do my G and I passed. So that's what really happened. So what gave me the ability to even like do my G almost immediately? If today you do your G2 and you pass, you can do your G like tomorrow, basically. it's that same extract, because like you don't have to wait at all. The only reason why you might wait is when there are no available dates for you to take your JID test, because everything is booked online. You have to be checking dates and everything, just like the way you check for dates for visas or interviews and what have you. So the only reason why you might not be able to do that your G test immediately, like it was in my case, I had to wait for some time because there were no available dates, and most times it takes up by summer or something. Most people are like in a hurry to like do their drive test and all that. So like I said, the basic thing is once you come into the country, into Canada with a driver's extract, try to get like the original one that they will also like collect, because I've heard that's another reason why I said I can't recommend. I have heard that it depends on where you also go to. Sometimes they don't collect it, sometimes they collect it, there's a lot. So I don't know, I've heard a lot of stories. Sometimes they want the hard copy. Back in Nigeria they might not give you the hard copy, and over here they might reject it. So it's like that, it's topsy-turvy. They might reject it, they might collect it, so it's 50-50. So I would advise you, like I said, just talk to somebody in FRSC, let them see how they can arrange your driver's extract for you. And that's what you just need, basically, your driver's extract and your driver's license. With an international driver's license, you can drive for about 60 days once you arrive, but of course you would need to like get your own Canadian license almost immediately. I didn't want to drive with that one. I didn't even have that. I didn't want to drive with that one because the insurance is really high. There's no point paying like $800 for insurance. I didn't buy it, so I didn't even want to go that route at all. The only thing on my mind was like, I must drive with the Canadian driver's license almost immediately. I wanted to keep my costs low, I wanted to keep my expenses low, and I'm so glad I did. So what helped me to like drive immediately was the extract. Without the extract, you'll be required to wait for some time. So guys, I just thought to share this information with you. If you know anybody coming to Canada, please share this with them, because I believe they will find it very beneficial. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my subsequent videos. Stay beautiful. Bye.